Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life. This episode could have been titled, Why Writing is Important for Everyone, but I really think it's important for designers, makers, and crafters, people who are trying to get all of their ideas out on paper. Now, so many times we spend a lot of our time sketching, but I actually think that most things start with writing as we're getting our ideas out there. Actually, this is why the name of my new membership community that's coming out in another month or so is called Ink Club, because I really believe that most great ideas start with paper and pen. So I recently did an episode with Melissa Esplin. You need to go back and listen to it if you haven't had a chance. It's fantastic. Melissa is full of, well, first of all, she's just generous with her information. And she'll just tell you anything. But it's just really fun to listen to her talk because she's taken a lot of different roads in the art field. So it's called Ink Club because, and this was before Melissa and I talked, because I just really felt strongly that most of us were writing down ideas, thinking of things, and then sometimes we would end up inking them up on paper. But they always started with ink on pen and paper. Anyway, Melissa and I were talking about bullet journaling, and she talks about how she realized that you can have more than one journal. Which I do. I have more than one journal. And when she was talking about it, I was like, that totally resonates with me. So she has one for church. She has her personal one. And I thought I would talk about the ones that I use. So I have a journal that I write in that's like my diary, right? That's what we think of when we think of a journal. But then I have a second notebook. It's actually much, much bigger. And I prefer spiral bound for this because I like to push the pages back. Anyway, there are scribbles all over it. And this one is, I don't know what you would name it exactly. I think I would call it my business journal, but it's basically anything to do with my creative endeavors, anything to do with my businesses and work, any great ideas I have. I'm actually using it today. And on it is scribbled numbers, like some math. And then underneath of it is like the episodes I plan on doing today and a few notes on them. So it has a little bit of everything. I do a daily practice where I write down my 10 biggest dreams every single day, and I do it into this one. Before, I will say I had a third journal that I was doing that in, and I think that's okay, where you have a journal where you just write your dream stuff in it. But what I want to encourage you is to write. I don't care how you put it together, but I think you need to feel okay about multiple journals. And maybe you feel like, oh my gosh, I have so many journals. But one of my journals I keep in one of my bags. It goes to church with me, and that's when I'm doing all of that. And then I have my work journal that's like kind of like everything that I'm doing, all my crazy thoughts. I'll suddenly have a thought about something, and I'll even put this next to my nightstand if I need to. Anyway, this one stays on my desk, and it sits with my planner, like my daily planner that I print out, which, by the way, I do every single year for $1. It's just like a planner that you can download and use yourself and make yourself. I love it. Every year I print my own. When I go to conferences, this is the notebook that goes with me. It gets filled up pretty fast. This one that I've got, I'm just going to show you the size of it. If you're on YouTube, this is like an 8.5 by 11 size. And I think I got it somewhere cheap, like Home Goods. So it's not special by any means, but it is spiral bound, which I like. I wish I had 10 of these because I've really liked this one. And I've liked the size of it. Sometimes I like to go a little smaller, but for what I've been doing, this has been a great size. So I started this one in April, and it is more than halfway done. So I would say I'm probably switching out my journals every 6 months, and then I hold on to them. And I have just a box where I keep all of them, and once in a while I'll go back through them. And here is the crazy thing about it. I will go back and look at them, and it is like physical evidence of what I've accomplished. So if any of you out there have a little bit of imposter syndrome, or you feel like you haven't accomplished anything, if you start doing this, I promise you will go back and look and you will be amazed at the results. I just really feel strongly that when we document, and this is not a documentation process, this is like a brain dump process, really, but you're in a way documenting everything. When we document the things that we have done, it is hard to not see the results, not see how far we've come, not see how amazing we are. And that's what I hope you really come out of this episode with. That one, you can have more than one journal. And specifically, I would highly recommend having a brain dumping journal. So maybe you're not in work mode, maybe you're in artist mode, or maybe you're in whatever mode you're in, songwriting mode, poem mode, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you want to, my husband wants to write books. I'm assuming, well, I know he has a journal where he just writes down all the stuff and ideas that he has. And that's separate than the journal where he writes his big dreams, right? I've combined mine recently, but that hasn't always been the case. In fact, usually I had 3. It was always my diary, basically, my work journal, and then my dream journal. And I've recently combined those 2 just simply because I've had the space to do it. And I open it up first thing in the morning, I do it, and then I just brain dump all the things that are going on in my life that I want to pay attention to, because there might be a great idea in there that I haven't been paying attention to. The other thing I do is I'll star things and I'll come back to them. I will write down any kind of notes about what I could do better, what I'm doing really well, anything about, sometimes I have Design Suite members, a lot of times they're so awesome to me. I feel like such a lucky girl to have this community that I have built, but I get to be a part of, which makes me so happy. I was gonna say makes me awesome. It doesn't make me awesome. It makes me so happy. And they'll DM me and send me emails about their takeaways, their aha moments. And that brings a lot of joy to me, because then I know that they're making progress and that their life is being changed. That is huge, because one of my main goals, you guys hear me say it or you have seen me say it on my website, is to create impact. And I knew that this would be an amazing way to create impact. And if only one person's life was changed from my programs, I would be pretty pleased. But seeing so many people doing so many amazing things, it makes me so happy. It brings me a ton of joy. So, big takeaways today. Go get yourself a journal that is a brain dumping journal for whatever you're doing, whether it's work related, creative. If you're a quilter and you're listening to this, you should have one where all you're doing is drawing quilt blocks, because that's what you like, right? I have in my main planner an area where I'm always drawing all my quilt blocks, trying to figure out what I'm doing. And I'll have scribbles and drawings all over this. Sometimes it's writing and sometimes it's scribbles, you guys, of just me doing little diagrams. I laid out my website the other day on this. I was just and then I'm gonna put this here, and then I'm gonna put a box here, and then I'm gonna put a box here. It's meant to be fluid. It is not pretty. If you looked at mine, you'd be whoa, this girl's a designer? Yeah, it's not pretty. And it should not be pretty. It should be just everything pouring out of your mind and bringing it to fruition into this book so that it has a place to land. When we think, we are thinking so many thoughts all the time. And how are we going to pick out the good ones if we don't put it down on paper and know that there's a place for me to come back to it and be that was important. That was important enough for me to put that on paper. And I think that I could get there. It's also important, I was mapping out my programs and I was how many people can I really have in this program before I'm nope, no more people. This is it. These are the people I want to coach and make sure that they make it. And so I started doing the math on it. And that's all in my book. It's like all this math, trying to figure out the best way to give the most impact, you know? And so I really, really believe in this. It's awesome. I'm like looking at mine. I've got like Post-it notes all over mine. It's just really fun. So I think I already said this. Takeaway, get yourself a journal. Write in it. Think about all the crazy things and brain dump into it, all the good things that might happen in your life, that could happen. And when we write it down, it somehow always turns into a plan, which is what I really want for you. All right, guys, I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. You guys know you can tag me at Carina Gardner or Carina Gardner Paper Crafts, depending on which thing you're kind of most interested in, and tell me if you are doing this. If you are please put it on my most recent post. I actually love hearing from you guys, even if it has nothing to do with the post, because that's a way for me to build community. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.